Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm being joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are we doing today on this Tuesday evening? A lot's happened this week. You had some upsets here. You had some disappointments there. Basketball was into full swing. Celtics look like the best team in the NBA right now. A lot's been going on. How are you on this Tuesday evening?
I'm great. I'm happy to be on the show and looking forward to our topics here. We've
Absolutely.
got some good ones.
Let's begin with our first topic of the day, and we're talking about the Jets. Because it was quite impressive. Mike White coming in for his fourth career start. Previously had a 1-2 record. His first career start was that 400-yard game on like 80% completion percentage against the Bengals, beating them. He comes in replacing Zach Wilson, who has had what we would like to say nicely as a bad season thus far, a underperforming season. He comes in and plays extremely well. Threw for 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. But he wasn't even... Let's start with this. The Bears didn't have their starting quarterback. They put in Trevor Siemian. He got hurt in warm-ups. They said they were going to start Nathan Peterman. Then Trevor Siemian couldn't go. It was a whole mess. The Jets played well, though. Their defense played really well. So based on what happened, Mike White playing well, the fans loving him, the team seemed much happier. Should the Jets start Mike White for the rest of the year, bench Zach Wilson? This is only his second career year. Should they keep Mike White in?
Yes. I think they should keep him in. I will say that the game on Sunday is a small sample size.
That's true.
He's only had 4 starts in his NFL career. His first one was great. Then he was terrible in the next couple, right? Or he got hurt in one of them too, right? Didn't he get hurt?
He was 1-2 before this start.
He had one that he was throwing all kinds of interceptions. He was very poor. So I'm good for him. He played well. He stepped up to the occasion. We'll see if he can be consistent. I think that's unknown right now.
Right.
And I will say Zach Wilson, I think he's done for the year. They're not going to let him start another game. If Mike White falters, they'll go to Flacco.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't think they'll go back to Zach Wilson. And I'd be surprised if, well, they're saying the right things about him still having a future with the Jets, but I don't think so. Particularly if Mike White steps up,
right,
and plays well. I would say if Mike White plays well and they keep winning, then they won't have a very high draft pick. So chances are they won't go after a quarterback in the next draft unless there are quite a few good quarterbacks in the next draft. Yes. I understand. So whether they would pick another quarterback or not, remains to be seen. I don't know, but I would say Zach Wilson's days he may never play another snap for the Jets.
That's interesting. A Fox Sports NFL insider, Jay Glazer, said that he reported that the Jets have lost confidence in Zach Wilson.
That's obvious. Why wouldn't they?
Right. No,
Look how poorly he played.
I agree with you. 77 yards, 9 of 22 against the Patriots. I'm going to agree with you on this one. I do think the Jets should stick with Mike White and then fall back on Joe Flacco. It's just that Zach Wilson, he had a couple really good games this year, but it was more so the running game that was a huge factor in it. And then the first game...
He hasn't had any really great passing games. He only had like 4 touchdown passes, I think, right?
Right.
So they've made him a game manager, and he couldn't even do that.
Yeah,
so
it was...
I feel bad for him.
Rough.
I mean, he is quite young. He's still young.
Right.
And maybe he'll get another chance somewhere else, probably, but... Probably starting out in the backup role. I don't know if he have a shot at starter.
That is rough.
Yeah.
The Mike White in this game against the Bears almost had a perfect passer rating. He had 149.3. That's only 9 away from a perfect passer rating. 315 yards, 22 of 28. 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That's impressive. The Jets next week go on to play the Minnesota Vikings.
That'll be a bigger
Minnesota
challenge.
Vikings.
That will be a lot bigger challenge than the Bears.
Yes. But there is some hope because the Vikings have one of the lowest ranked passing defenses in the league. Mac Jones was the leading passer this entire week with 384 yards, which that's impressive in of itself. I could see. Well, I don't think the Jets are going to go for some sort of a low draft pick, or I guess a high draft pick, just because of the fact that they're 7-4. they were largely successful throughout the year. So I think that if they were shooting for a high draft pick, they probably wouldn't try as hard in a lot of these games if they wanted.
Well,
It's the same thing with the Giants.
Well, they're trying hard because they have a winning record and they have a shot at the playoffs.
Right. It's the same thing with the Giants. The Giants aren't necessarily a Super Bowl team yet, and neither are the Jets. But could they be a playoff team?
Playoff team.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you would also have to sacrifice
That would be a big step in the right
bigger
direction.
Future. No, it would be. Because it makes both New York teams are very marketable. OBJ looks like he might go to the Giants, even though he's right now favoring the Cowboys. But
I don't think he'll go to the Giants. I don't think the Giants really want him there. He was disruptive when he was there before.
Yeah.
You know, he did some wacky stuff, and he was a distraction.
Right.
I don't think the Giants want to take that risk again.
Yeah.
I don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs, though.
You think the Giants are going to fade out? Woof.
Yeah. I mean, they've lost 3 out of their last 4.
Well, right now,
They have a very tough schedule.
It.
They have a tough schedule the rest of the way. There's only a couple games there I think they can win, and I don't think they're going to get in with 9 wins in the playoffs.
Well, because earlier we both thought their schedule wasn't that hard because how well they're playing.
Yeah, well,
now they're slipping.
I mean, they lost to Detroit.
Yep.
Yeah, and they lost this past week to the Cowboys, and they were the second half. They played very poorly.
Yeah.
And they had a chance there. I think the game turned on that pass play on 4th down. I don't think the coach should have gone for it on 4th down.
You, yeah.
He shouldn't have done it. They weren't that far behind. That gave Dallas great field position. They went right down the field and scored, and then the game was out of hand then.
Right. Well, currently right now, the NFC East, every single team is in the playoffs, including Washington. So that says it right there. Washington could move.
Well, the Giants play Washington this week, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to win.
Really? You're saying, let's see, it's at Giants, though.
Yeah, not the way the Washington's playing right now.
Washington has won 6 out of their last 7 games. They were on a roll here. They started off, 1-4? Yeah,
the game they lost was very close. It went right down to the last second.
Yeah. A couple of these have been 1-score games, actually.
Heineke's made a huge difference for them.
Absolutely.
He's a spark, and he's really someone who is very enthusiastic. I mean, he's super enthusiastic. He's gotten everyone fired up there. I think that I don't think the Giants will beat them on Sunday.
Even though it's at Giants.
At Giants, I still don't think they're going to win. I don't think the Giants have that many players. Their offensive line is all banged up, right?
Yeah.
They have players out in the secondary are hurt.
Right.
They really have Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Those are their 2 players. The wide receiver core is average at best, below average actually.
Yeah,
right? And so I just don't think they've got the horses to get there.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. And Daniel Jones he played well up until recently.
Yeah.
He's not played that well.
I agree with you there. Yeah. He's not been he's been actually a better runner this year. He almost has 500 yards rushing this year.
Yeah. Well, he should do more of that then, because his passing game has fallen off some.
Well,
he threw that ball to Barkley. The ball to Barkley was not well thrown.
It was way behind him.
It was catchable, but it was not well enough thrown. Barkley could have caught it in stride if it had been, and he could have gained some yardage. Instead, he had to reach way back.
Right.
He got a hold of it, and then it was hard to catch. And he when he fell, it bounced out of his hand, and he lost it. So that was a poor throw on Jones's part. It was catchable. A great receiver might have caught that, but running back generally is not going to catch that ball.
Saquon isn't a phenomenal receiving back either, so
he hasn't been running the ball very well either. But the offensive line's all banged up. That's probably why, mostly.
They are getting healthy though. They're bringing some of their
They need to get healthy real fast.
Yeah,
and they need to get their running game going, so it will set up the pass a little bit better. But I think Washington is well coached. And they made the change to Heineke, and they're not going back to Wentz.
Right.
So I think they made the right decisions, and I think they're going to make I think they have a good shot at making the playoffs.
The way the NFC is, you're probably right. The Jets also. The Jets. Do you think they're still a playoff team? Because they're not slipping. They had a little bit of I shouldn't say they're falling. They're slipping a little bit.
Well,
but
I think
can Mike White save it though?
I reserved my prediction until after Thursday's game with the Patriots against Buffalo.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Patriots win that game. then they'll probably be the one that makes the playoffs and not the Jets. But if the Patriots lose that game, then probably it's going to be the Jets.
Interesting. Before the game, before Thursday, you're not going to make any prediction, or would you say that maybe?
No, I'm going to wait till
Okay.
Friday night. I'll make my prediction.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm worried about that game on Thursday.
I mean, it's against the Bills.
Yeah, I know. Patriots have not played well against the Bills the last 2 times. Terrible. The Bills didn't punt in either game, huh? How bad is that?
Yeah.
I mean, but the Patriots defense is better than that this year.
You think? They couldn't stop Justin Jefferson. So I think it stops Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that the difference there is the Vikings had a better running game than the Buffalo has.
That's true.
So
Buffalo's
I think the Patriots can focus more on the wide receivers.
But Josh Allen could also run, though.
That's true, and he's hurt the Patriots a lot with that. So.
Yeah.
Mobile quarterbacks, the Patriots have had a hard time with.
Yeah. One team, we're going to move on to the next topic.
The Jets. So
yeah, the Jets.
I think Mike White should stay in there, right? Obviously, he had a great game, right? But I do think the sample size is small.
It is.
And I think if he falters and starts throwing a lot of interceptions, then Flacco is next up, not Zach Wilson.
The crazy thing was Zach Wilson wasn't even dressed for that game.
No, he was
in a hoodie.
Yeah, he's not going to be dressed the rest of the season, I don't think.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the season, there are not that many games left now.
Yeah, there's 6 games I think left. It's the Jets have some problems because they drafted him at number 2, and it seemed very early on that it was set in stone.
The Jets have no luck. They have so little luck, right? They drafted Darnold high. He was terrible for them. Now Zach Wilson's terrible for them. They have no luck when they draft a quarterback.
Yeah.
You'd think drafting that high, Darnold was right up there. He was in the top 5 too.
Yeah.
Right?
It was between him and Baker Mayfield where we're considered.
Yeah, see, either one of them wouldn't have been any
right.
good.
It's interesting. I think the last honestly great quarterback the Jets have had been Mark Sanchez. It led him to 2 AFC.
I would hardly call him great.
He beat the Patriots in the playoffs.
Once.
Yeah, once. Like it was impressive.
You know what? They had a great running game. Both those years they made the AFC Championship
Their
game.
defense was also great too.
Yes.
They had Darrelle Revis.
Yeah. It was I think the quarterback was not the main reason they made it.
No, but he still
played well.
He was good enough to lead them to the playoffs.
He played well. He played pretty well.
Yeah. And then you had Geno Smith and Ryan Fitzpatrick and
no, they can't get a good quarterback. I don't know.
Well, I mean, right now Geno Smith looks actually pretty good.
Geno Smith, isn't he ranked number 1? Isn't he number 1 ranked quarterback in the league?
Hell no, not even close.
Huh?
He's in my top 10.
What's he ranked?
For me, he's number, I think,
8.
but
what's he ranked overall?
He's still in the top 10. Let's see. What's the NFL.com QB rankings? I'll bring it up really quickly. Let's see. This is from 6 days ago. Let's see where NFL.com ranked him. Let's go down. Mahomes 1, Hurts 2, Allen 3, Tua 4, Burrow 5, Lamar 6, Justin Fields 7, Geno Smith 8. So
I'm surprised.
And then Brady Prescott.
I'm surprised that Fields is ahead of Fields ahead of him.
He's been great running the football.
Yeah, because his passing is not good though.
His passing isn't great. He's
all banged up. His shoulder's hurt.
Yeah, he's dealing with a shoulder injury.
That's that they let him run it too much. He's taken too many hits.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. In that game against the Falcons where he ended up hurting his shoulder, he was already dealing with a hamstring injury. Yeah. So he's playing through an injury.
Yeah, I mean you can't. The quarterback can't run every play. He's gonna get wiped out.
It doesn't. It's crazy. No mobile quarterback, and this is my argument with Lamar at the end of his career. Will he ever win a Super Bowl? My answer is no. I'm saying it now. We're 4 or 5 years into Lamar's career, and I'm already saying he's never going to win one because in the history of the NFL, a predominantly mobile or a predominantly running quarterback has never won.
No, Michael Vick got to the Super Bowl.
He didn't win.
No.
Randall Cunningham never won a Super Bowl.
No.
Cam Newton made it to a Super Bowl, didn't win it.
Yeah.
So he might get to one, but he's never going to win one, in my opinion. And the Ravens right now look like they're falling off right now. And it's not all Lamar. A couple of the losses were Lamar's fault. But the defense has not been consistent.
That last drive against Jacksonville, let them march right down the field.
That's true.
Yeah.
That game was filled with some drop passes here. Lamar missed like a couple wide open receivers there. that game was just a complete mess. Good for Doug Peterson. Good for the Jaguars. It screwed up some of our picks.
Oh, man. My picks are terrible.
We actually had winning records.
Oh, really? It must be not by much.
It was not by much. But speaking about changing quarterbacks, we saw something interesting and somewhat unfortunate. Aaron Rodgers left the game against the Eagles due to an apparent rib injury. He already had a broken thumb. He was playing throughout since I believe the Giants game. He said he broke it. Jordan Love came in, went 6 of 9 for over 100 yards and a touchdown, brought him in within one score at one point. Do you think at this point in the season, the Packers, I believe, are now 4-8. They're 4-8 right now. They're still below Detroit and barely above Chicago in the division. Is it time for the Packers to shut down Aaron Rodgers and stick with Jordan Love the rest of the way?
I think as long as they technically have a chance for mathematically have a chance for the playoffs, they'll stick with Rodgers.
Really?
They're paying him $50 million a year. They can't. He's the crowd draw. They can't bench him. They're not going to bench him. If he can play, they're going to let him play.
Well, Rodgers said on Pat McAfee's show that everything was clear and he expects to play. I'm saying bench him. I don't care. $50 million.
Well,
he's not helping you, Annie.
The marketing director in Green Bay would disagree with you.
He's not helping you, Annie. Right now, Green Bay. If you want to see the percentage chance that they make the playoffs,
not very high, but the
3.8% chance.
Yeah.
3.8. Detroit has an 11% chance to make the playoffs.
Well, they're still mathematically they have a chance, so I think they're going to continue to play him until
3.8% chance.
Yeah, that's pretty small. I agree.
That's
but
good
they're paying him $50 million, and he's been one. Yeah, he's not played well this year, right? How many interceptions does he have now?
He has 9 right now.
9 interceptions. He only threw 4 all last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said before this year, I said he's going to have double-digit interceptions. Now, if they decide to bench him, I'm going to be wrong on that. But
you got his receiver core is not as good as last year.
Well, honestly, no. His receiver core was just primarily Devontae Adams.
Yeah, that was a hell of a lot better than what they got now.
No, I agree with you. But basically, everyone else besides Devontae Adams was still there. You lost Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who doesn't look half bad for the Chiefs. But other than that, Alan Lazard's still there. You added a guy who runs 4.3. I think he's 6'4" in Christian Watson. He scored, I want to say 6 touchdowns in 4 games.
You know what? He's fast and everything, but he bobbles the ball. He misses catches he should make.
Early on, he did that a lot, and Rodgers wouldn't.
He's gotten a little better. He gotten better recently,
right.
But yeah. Is he a rookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he probably has a bright future.
He begged the Packers organization last year to bring Randall Cobb back. So we got Randall Cobb, barely targets him. He's been hurt. Has Sammy Watkins, who isn't necessarily a bad receiver. He's an average receiver. So, I think when he's
Sammy Watkins,
he's been slightly above average.
Sammy Watkins used to be considered a very highly regarded.
He played with Patrick Mahomes, which could be part of
and he did well. I don't know why they don't try to use him more.
He's been dealing with injuries here and there, but
he was injured a lot with other teams.
He just doesn't have that, I guess, that spark that I guess Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were looking to get. But I say bench him because what you need right now, Jordan Love is gonna need to be released or he's gonna need to get paid. So you got to figure out, is this the future of our organization? Is Jordan Love the answer, or is he gonna have to sit back in the draft someone late in the first round, maybe in the second round, maybe possibly later, because you still need receivers. You could draft maybe in the 4th round to find a random quarterback and develop him on an Aaron Rodgers who just doesn't want to be there anymore. Rodgers, I guarantee you is not going to play past probably 40. Like, he's 2 years left on his deal? I guarantee you he's not going to play after that. He doesn't look great. Without Devontae Adams, look at him now. Yes, he has a average to a slightly above average receiving core.
Yeah, well,
but he's supposed to be. He's a back-to-back MVP.
You may be right. You might be right, but I think many quarterbacks now look at Tom Brady as the standard that I can play into my 40s. Right, and there's money to be made.
Of course.
So they're looking at him and they're saying, I'll do the same things he does. I'll eat the same diet. I'll do the same exercise routine. I'll use stretching bands instead of weights, and and maybe I can make it into my 40s. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers is thinking that too. He still looks pretty mobile. He's more mobile than Brady.
Well, I could probably be more mobile than
Okay.
Brady.
I mean, but okay, so that says a lot, right? He doesn't have to be. He can get older and be less mobile and still have a great arm.
He still is a great arm.
And he's still pretty bright too. I think he's pretty smart as a quarterback. You know,
that's where I'm not necessarily agreeing with you, because
he's brighter than the average one.
Well,
I'd say he maybe not be the
elite.
brightest, but he's brighter than the average.
Well, obviously, I think that's when
He's
partially,
been MVP 3 times.
yes, and he's a back-to-back MVP, and look how he's playing now. He's not playing very well.
Well, that's the team around him. They spent all their money on him, and not enough on the rest of the team.
Hey, their defense was supposed to be their shine here, and they still have A.J. Dillon.
Their wide receiver core is a problem.
They still have A.J. Dillon and Aaron
Their
Jones.
running backs aren't bad.
Not at
Right?
all.
They're good.
They rushed for over 100 yards against the Eagles.
Yeah.
That was their shining
So
moment.
the defense is bad.
Their defense isn't great. The mental part.
It was touted to be pretty good at the beginning of the season. I believe the hype, and it turned out to be bad. Right.
I mean, at one point they were ranked the #1 passing defense in the league.
I think many analysts are very surprised at how this season is going.
I haven't been. I've said from the start the Packers are not going to make the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers will have 10+ interceptions.
Maybe just the Packers, but other teams too. I mean, look how bad the Colts are.
Yeah.
And most people thought they were going to be good.
I thought they would be better. I
A lot of people thought Detroit was going to be good. They've been a little bit better lately.
Their offense has been really good.
Yeah, their defense is awful.
Their defense is the serious problem. But the Packers in this game could not convert on third down. They went 1 of 7. They lost the time of possession battle, even though they ran. First of all, the Eagles ran for 363 yards and 3 touchdowns against this Packers team. Jalen Hurts did not need to play all that great. He only threw 28 balls, 153 yards, 2 touchdowns. Did not play particularly great, but he rushed for 157 yards. That is crazy. So this rushing defense isn't great at all. The Packers' offense, honestly, wasn't necessarily the problem. It was more so the fact that the Eagles just ran you to absolutely.
It's the defense. The defense stinks. Yeah.
The Packers currently right now have the 31st ranked rushing defense in the league. They've given up over 1,800 yards rushing.
No, you can't do much worse than that. There's only one other team.
One other team. And if I had to take a guess, it'd probably be Detroit, but I would need to go through each team to figure out that.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like doing that, but just to know, let's see. It's not Detroit. Detroit is the 30th.
No.
So I mean, you got to know if Jordan Love has anything to him. You got to know, because you have to pay him or get rid of him.
He may get in there. There's still 6 games to go.
I think it's time to shut it down.
Packers lose 2 more. Maybe they'll get him in there.
But then think about it now. Then you
know what? Maybe Aaron Rodgers will
games.
suddenly be injured. Maybe he'll suddenly be
That's
injured.
what I'm saying. The Packers should say, "Oh, he's too hurt to go. We're going to put him on IR for 4 weeks."
Yeah.
Because think about it. Let's say they lose the next 2 games. I can bring up the schedule very quickly. The next 2 games are against Chicago, a bye week, and then the Rams.
Those are both winnable games.
Both those games you should be able to win, because the Rams lost Aaron Donald. He's on IR right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Him too?
High ankle sprain. So those right now are 2 winnable games. If you lose both those games, and Aaron Rodgers throughout his entire career has absolutely dominated the Bears. If he loses to the Bears, comes off the bye and loses to the Rams, you only have a total of 6 games if you put in Jordan Love the rest of the year. That's honestly that's only 3 games left in the year. So right now you only have a sample size of 5 career starts for Jordan Love. 5. And you got to pay him 5 years based on 5 games? I say put him in now, because at least now you have, let's see, Chicago.
Okay, well, you know what? You have Aaron Rodgers for 2 more years.
You do.
Right? $50 million a year.
You could also say,
you want to upset him? You want to get him all upset?
He's been upset for years because they drafted Jordan Love.
Well,
which
he'd be
got
even
him
more upset.
Aaron Rodgers has kept the Packers constricted, because in 2020 they drafted Jordan Love with their first round pick. He goes out and wins an MVP, loses in the playoffs to Brady in the NFC Championship game, comes back, wins another MVP, loses to Jimmy G in the playoffs at home in Lambeau in freezing conditions, where he has substantially better stats and a significantly better record. He's like 28-4 in the cold, so something crazy like that. He loses to Jimmy G, gets outplayed by Jimmy G. The first quarter, I still argue this. The first quarter or the first half, I think Devontae Adams had 80 yards and a touchdown, and they
Okay,
were moving the ball downfield.
okay, let's say they start Jordan Love the rest of the season.
I would say get rid of him. Say sorry.
Okay, so who are they going to trade him to? He's got a $50 million salary. He's got a contract that pays him $100 million for the next 2 years. Who do you think is going to take him?
Derek Carr.
You think that they think he'll go to the Raiders?
I think in order to keep Devontae Adams happy, because right now, the Raiders have had success the past couple games, especially just with Devontae Adams and Derek Carr. In order to keep Devontae Adams in Las Vegas, instead of him getting all mad like he's been recently, swap quarterbacks.
Well, I wonder what their salary cap looks like if they were going to bring Aaron Rodgers in at $50 million.
It'd be rough. It'd be very, very rough.
Yeah.
But no, well then the Packers pay it in full because it's fully guaranteed, or the Raiders would need to pay it. That's part of
I'm
the contract.
sure that the Packers, if they were going to trade him, they wouldn't want to pay a lot of that salary.
Right.
They look at him as an elite player. So.
I mean, you're already paying Devontae Adams like $160 million or something fully guaranteed, or so he's on like a $214 million contract. Yeah. So you got it going there.
That could be a possibility, but I don't know how the money would work.
Yeah, it would need to be sorted out if that were actually to come into fruition. Let's go on to our next topic. Another disappointment.
Actually, before we go to that, and I was speaking about elite quarterbacks and having trouble. Brady lost again.
He did lose,
and he just said we didn't score enough points. That was his response to the questions about the game. I don't know. I mean, they're still in first place, right? Even with a losing record, 5-6 record.
Yep.
They're lucky that the Falcons lost this weekend, right?
Yeah, they're
so I don't know about them. They're looking pretty shaky.
Indeed, they are.
I thought that they would win out here. I thought they got it rolling there. I thought they'd win out, but now they lost to the Browns. Come on, the Browns.
Yeah.
How'd they lose to them?
Then they go. Then the next couple games are the Saints, 49ers, Bengals, Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons.
It's a tough schedule.
They end on 2 winnable games, but with the way the Panthers defense has looked, Steve Wilkes might have just coached himself that defense into a job next year. There's a chance Steve Wilkes is the Panthers coach next year because that defense has been very, very good recently. The Falcons, that's a winnable game. It's once again the rushing defense, 189 yards. The Browns rushed against them.
Yeah, and how did the Bucks do rushing?
96 yards.
Yeah, so they've been doing a little better in the running game.
That was their 3rd best rushing game.
Yeah,
it was 161 the previous week against Seattle, and then week 1 at 152.
Yeah,
they have not been a great rushing team all year, and that makes sense because they are still the 32nd rushing team in the NFL.
Terrible, worst.
They actually no. I was gonna say they improved, but they only improved in the number of attempts rushing. Instead of 32nd, they're 31st in number of rushing attempts. They're still dead last in yards per attempt, rushing touchdowns, and rushing yards.
My thought is, this is not the year that Brady expected it was going to be. I'm sure he's very disappointed. I think he takes a look at playing again next year.
He always said, "I will play until I cannot play to the level of a championship," and right now he's not playing to the level of a championship.
That's true.
So
he might think it's the rest of the team. The rest of the team is letting him down.
Tom Brady's had some bad games though. He's been generally consistent, but it's not been generally great.
Yeah, he's ranked in the top 10 quarterbacks. His yards, he's got a lot of yards.
They've the fifth,
he hasn't thrown many interceptions. He has some touchdowns. Two interceptions. That's it.
Yeah.
Come on, that's great.
He has the best TD interception ratio.
How many TDs has he got?
12.
12.
Actually, no, he threw touchdowns, so 13.
13, that's not good.
Not at all.
Right.
Not at all. He almost has 1 touchdown per game, which is
not him.
They're 27th in points scored this year. Yeah. 27th.
It's not good.
Their defense has only allowed the 7th fewest. So
I think he looks around at the end of the season to see whether he wants to play some more and what team might be the best fit for him.
That could be something. It's just right now.
That could be the Raiders too. That's Josh McDaniel.
That's what I argued. I said the Raiders move off.
And good receiving core. Excellent receiving core.
They have a pretty good tight end in Darren Waller, who's been dealing with some injuries.
Yeah.
You have Devontae Adams, who's a great piece. Hunter Renfrow is like his little Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola type of receiver. You have a great running back. I mean, Josh Jacobs the last game had over 300 total yards. He ran for 229.
Yeah. He had an unbelievable number of fantasy points, I think.
45 in my league. It was crazy what he did. So it could be, but will the Raiders go for him? Supposedly that's where he was going to end up in 2020, and then John Gruden backed out of it. So there could be a chance Brady goes to Las Vegas, but I'm saying he retires.
You think he retires?
I'm still sticking to that. Yeah. I don't think he'll play.
I don't know.
But then again, he doesn't have the pushback anymore.
No, that's right. He got divorced. So
I don't know. I'd say he'll be 46 years old.
Still playing high level.
Yeah. I
mean, anybody would take him right now with the stats he has.
Supposedly, there wasn't much competition in 2020. And at that point, he was, 42, 43 years old? 42. So at 42, there wasn't that much there. At 46, I don't know.
A bunch of teams would want him, whether he want to go to them, whether he would want to go because he doesn't want to go unless he's deep into the playoffs with a team.
Right. Obviously.
And they got to have more than just him because that's proven that this year with the Bucs. They don't have what they need around him to make it.
Well, Brady's 45 years old. I don't think a lot of elite players at 40s and above. I mean, you've never seen a quarterback play at this level, let alone win a couple Super Bowls at 40 or above. Of course, Brady needs a little bit of help. He's not 35 years old playing with random dudes that you pull off the street.
Yeah.
And
he's still as good as most of the quarterbacks in the league.
Yes, he's still a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah. So there's going to be interest in him if he wants to play some more. Probably the Bucs would want to keep him too, I would think, but I don't know.
They need a lot of work, though.
They need a lot of work. They would have to show him that they're going to go out and spend some money to bring in some players.
Yeah, you're probably right on a lot of that. Let's move on to our next topic, though, because we're sticking with the NFL. The Broncos are turning on each other. Defensive tackle Mike Bursell decided to get up in Russell Wilson's face. The clip went viral. Get up in his face, and Russell Wilson said at the end of in his post-game conference that Bursell was saying, "Let's effing go," to try to bring some life into Russell Wilson in that offense. It didn't really work because the Broncos, I said this before our show, what was it, on Friday when we were making our picks. I said this offense with Sam Darnold might peak a little bit, might have a little bit of juice in it, and they did end up beating the Broncos. This Broncos defense has been great.
Darnold's going to start again next week.
I would probably agree with that. He looked pretty good.
They said. I announced it.
Yeah, so he's looked pretty good. The Panthers did end up beating these Broncos 23-10. Russell Wilson completed barely above 50% completion percentage.
What's happened to him? It's amazing. It must be, I can't believe his talent has dropped off that much.
Right.
It's got to be the offensive coordinator.
You think so?
Yeah.
So
I would say Nathaniel Hackett is toast.
Well, that's the question. Do you think that this is coaching job or maybe just an off year, or do you think this is more so Russell Wilson?
A lot of people saying that the offense doesn't fit Russell Wilson very well.
It doesn't.
And so why don't they just go to Seattle's offense? He played well in that. Just go with that.
Because Nathaniel Hackett.
Look how well Geno Smith's doing in that offense.
Right.
He's doing great. That's an offense that Russell Wilson did well in too. They should go to that.
Right.
It's ego, right? I think Nathaniel Hackett better change real fast here. He's only got 6 more games, and if he doesn't win a lot of those games, he's gone. I think.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right now the Broncos.
Russell Wilson, he can't be gone. And they gave him a huge contract.
Right.
He's got 5 more years on that contract, I think.
Yeah.
So, and I still think he's got something. How old is he now?
I think he's 30. I want to say 33. I can look it up right now. He is 30. His birthday's today. Happy birthday, Russell Wilson. He's 34 years old.
34
years old.
He should have at least 3 more good years in him, I would think.
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. On this same percentage chance of making the playoffs, it's at legitimately 0.0. So the Broncos I guess on
what a disappointment.
they are eliminated from
we were
contention.
talking about them being a potential playoff team at the beginning of the season.
I started off this year putting them at number 1 in the AFC West. I moved them down throughout the next 2 renditions to dead last in the AFC West back in my week 8 change. They are literally out of playoff contention at this point. That was their last chance. They would need to win out to make it, and they ended up losing. They are now officially out of playoff contention. So I'm going to say this is more so, it's sort of, revisionist history, looking back saying, could you predict this? I'm not saying I could predict it, but there was a slight trend of where Russell Wilson was going. Yes, he was dealing with an injury the past couple of years with Seattle, and especially that last year with Seattle. He didn't play particularly well. And this year, he's playing god-awful. Yeah. He has 8... you talk about Brady having, 13 touchdowns. Russell Wilson has 8. 8 touchdowns.
How many interceptions?
5.
Yeah.
He has more bathrooms in his house than he has touchdowns this year. Think about that. More bathrooms in your house than NFL touchdowns. You're a quarterback. You're a running back, maybe. You're an NFL quarterback. Your job is
I'm sure he's in one of those bathrooms throwing up after every game. He's playing so bad.
He has under 60% completion percentage, and that's been dropping off since 2020. It's been on a decline.
His receiving core a little shaky there.
Cortland Sutton, though, when he got hurt, but before the injury, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL.
Yeah,
he was right.
Jerry
up
Jeudy,
there.
what happened to him?
I think he's dealing with an injury. They've all been.
So if they're hurt, then they're not playing. So
that's true. But they don't have.
They have a running back that's any good? I don't think so. Well, they don't have any running game.
They got rid of Melvin Gordon, Latavius Murray.
They let him go.
Yeah. Murray did have, I think, almost 100 yards rushing in this game. So it's not like they couldn't run the ball. The passing offense was not there. 142 yards and a touchdown. That offensive line, I think, needs some work.
Yeah.
I do think that's a
they're going to have to reassess here at the end of the year, and I guess they'll be looking for a new coach.
Probably. But I think this is more so the Broncos signed Nathaniel Hackett because the big rumor was Rodgers to the Broncos. So you signed Nathaniel Hackett.
Who was the offensive? Who's the offensive coordinator? Who was his offensive coordinator in Seattle?
Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I can look it up.
And is he still there? I think he's still there, right? That guy's a long-term guy in Seattle.
Their offensive coordinator was Shane Waldron, and this year it's still Shane Waldron.
They should try to bring him in. I should go get him, see if I can pull him out of.
But in 2020, which was his last pretty good year, they had Brian Schottenheimer. So I don't know. Let's see. Is he even coaching anymore? He this year he's not coaching.
Huh.
His last time was the quarterback's coach last year for the Jaguars.
Excuse me. They should bring in a good offensive coordinator that Russell Wilson has had success with. That would be what I would do first, and get a new head coach who doesn't call plays. I think head coaches calling the offensive plays, except maybe for Andy Reid, is a bad idea. I don't think they should be doing it. I like the Belichick's approach.
What about Sean McVay?
Look at his success this year. He's doing terrible.
That's it's crazy the drop off the Rams have. This isn't just like a Super Bowl hangover. This is you walked off a cliff and fell.
I think the head coach is supposed to step back and watch the whole game, be focused on the big picture, and comment on the big picture to his coordinators. I think that is the best way to lead. And if you're a head coach, if you're the offensive coordinator, you're not paying any attention to the defense, right? You're thinking about what plays you're going to call.
That's Belichick's problem, though.
Well, Belichick he's stepping back. He's not in there micromanaging the offense.
No, he doesn't touch offense. That's what I'm saying. He focuses too much on the defense. That's been my whole thing. He's always been known as a great defensive coach.
I always thought he's pretty balanced. I think he's pretty balanced.
The offense was always.
He hasn't had the talent on offense the last couple of years, right? He doesn't have Tom Brady. He doesn't have the talent on offense. He doesn't
draft offense well at all. He's the de facto GM. He does not draft offense anywhere near it should be.
Mac Jones. He's looking like a better draft pick lately.
Yeah, recently he's been looking good.
Yeah,
but starting off this year, it was pretty. He had one okay game.
I think that part of that was the coaching because of the offensive coordinative kind of snafu that they've got there.
I'm glad you're finally saying it. That's what I said.
No, but I think that Patricia has improved a lot. But he's still not as good as McDaniel was. I think McDaniel was a better offensive coordinator for Mac Jones last year, right?
Yes.
Mac Jones had a better
he did a great job changing the offense.
And he had Jones playing well at the beginning of the season in his rookie year. So
yeah,
Jones actually didn't do that well later in the year under McDaniel.
But the Patriots just in general didn't do that well. They got tired. The defense wasn't the same. Matt Judon wasn't flying off the edge like he is. Matt Judon has played phenomenal this year. I think he had 13 and a half sacks.
He was leading the league in sacks, but he didn't hear his name much in the Vikings game. They had an answer for him.
It was crazy how good the Vikings offensive line was, and they were actually missing their best tackle, Christian Darrisaw. He was out, and they still could barely get to. I think they sacked him once, and that was late in the third quarter. So
I think that the Seattle was the big winner in that trade, right?
Absolutely.
They've got all the draft picks. They're going to get high draft picks too now because Seattle's Broncos are right down near the bottom.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to get a great draft pick this year, and they have draft picks. They got a boatload of draft picks coming up.
Right.
They got stung on that trade.
Right now, Seattle has the third pick in the draft. Third. Yep. And that's from Denver.
Yeah,
which is it's crazy. I believe they also have the number 16 pick. Let's see. Yeah, they also have the number 16 pick
for their own.
Yeah, I believe this is
that may be higher or lower depending on how they do.
Right? Yeah, they I believe they play the Rams this upcoming week. So they that should be higher, but still,
they got a good chance.
You have a
top
5 pick, and you nailed on your picks last draft. So I don't know. The Seahawks
they're going to be a tough team. I think
mark.
Going forward, the next 2 years, they're going to be loaded up with really good high draft picks. If they pick them well, they could be right back up there at the top of the league.
Yeah. So when it comes to Russell Wilson and where this direction's going, I'm going to say this is... Because, once again, Nathaniel Hackett was supposed to be a lure piece to bring Aaron Rodgers to Denver. They got Russell Wilson. So it's either get rid of Hackett and put him in with someone else that Russell Wilson might have input in.
I think that's what they're going to have to do because they're stuck with Russell Wilson for a long time.
Could be,
unless they try to trade him, but who's going to take him? He's having a lousy year,
right?
And he makes a ton of money.
So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with what you said though. I think this is not necessarily a sign of things to come. I think this is more so it's pieces not fitting in the right places. Head coach.
They're going to have to try to salvage it next year.
Yeah.
And it's mostly they're going to do it with the coaching and not with the players.
Right.
They're going to try to bring maybe some more players in around Wilson.
Be.
Right.
So I think we're going to take our first break here. But coming up, we will be talking about who right now should be the NBA MVP and who it will be at the end of the year. Also, we will be doing our Week 12 recap. All that right after the break.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's jump right into it. We're talking about the NBA MVP award. Now, we're only, I believe, 20-something games into the year. So, we have a very long way until the MVP award actually gets announced. But currently, according to Vegas Insider, Luka Doncic is the leader at plus 275 odds. Giannis is plus 276. Tatum at plus 330. Curry at plus 750. And Embiid at plus 1180 to round out the top five. So I'm going to ask you, who do you think should be the MVP right now? Or who do you think is the MVP right now? And who do you think at the end of the year will get the award?
Jason Tatum.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's Jason Tatum? I'm curious about this.
Because I'm biased. I'm a Celtics fan. No, they have the best record in the NBA, and he makes the players around him better. So I think those are two very important criteria. Doncic has played great, right? But he's kind of a one-man show. I watched the Dallas Celtics game, right? And Doncic, when he was scoring big, they were in the game. When he wasn't, they weren't. And nobody around him could do anything. He was basically it. And so I don't think you get an MVP with that kind of formula, with that person doing basically everything. I think it's somebody who is a team player and makes the people around him better and hits the big shots when he has to. And so far, Tatum's been doing it.
I could probably agree with you on some of that, but I'm gonna give it to Luka.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give it to Luka. Yes, Jason Tatum has played phenomenally. 30 points a game, 7 boards, 4 assists on almost 50% shooting from the floor, 34% from three. But
his boards could be a little better. He's tall.
Luka is almost averaging a triple-double this year.
Yeah, I know.
33 points, almost 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 50% from
Their
the
record's
field.
not that great, though, Dallas.
And that's where I'm going to say that Jason Tatum will probably make a little bit of a push. Even Giannis makes a little bit of a push, and possibly even Steph Curry makes a little bit of a push. And that's because the MVP generally, makes the playoffs, and usually a top 4 seed in the NBA. I think the last time that happened was...
Well, Curry is not going to be that right now, right? Their record's terrible.
Recently, they've been playing significantly better, and they had a blowout win. I forget who it was against a couple nights. It might have been last night or 2 nights ago. On the road, surprisingly. They got a huge win on the road, and I think I could bring it up here just to make... Oh, yeah, against the Timberwolves, who are not half bad of a team. They won by 24 points.
Wow.
Curry and Klay Thompson have been playing very well. Draymond Green put up almost 20 points, which that's unheard of.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna agree with you on the premise of Jason Tatum right now should probably be the leader, not Luka, because let's see, where is it? Luka plays for the Dallas Mavericks. They are currently 11th, so they're not even in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
And Jason Tatum is the number 1 seed with a 17-4 record.
Yeah, number 1 in the NBA.
Number 1 in the NBA.
How about Giannis? What's their record?
Giannis is 14-5. The Bucks are 14-5.
So
he's averaging a double-double right now. 30
that's
points,
going to be the biggest
boards,
challenge. I think they'll be the biggest challenge to the Celtics getting to the championship.
Yes. And you bring up a good point. When Luka is doing everything, it's great. But when he slips a little bit, that's where the holes come in. And that happened last year in the playoffs. When Luka wasn't absolutely at the peak of his game, his surrounding cast just couldn't pick up the slack.
His surrounding cast, who the hell are they? I don't know any of the names of those guys. They played so poorly against the Celtics. They caught up near the end, but I think the Celtics slacked off a little bit because they were ahead by so much.
Right.
But I don't think he's got much around him. That's part of the problem too. Whereas the Celtics got a lot of good players.
Yeah.
Really, they really are gelling, and the chemistry is great.
Malcolm Brogdon, he's not putting up great numbers per se in the averages, but he's been a very efficient player, almost shooting 50% from the field and 50% from 3. So he's been playing pretty well, pretty efficient. So he's been a great pickup. Blake Griffin, he's made, a couple appearances here and then, averaging 4 points, 3 boards. He's shooting 50% from the floor. He hasn't been terrible for him, but he's a role player. Peyton Pritchard, he's certainly a character to watch. Derek White's been playing very well. Jaylen Brown, he's been playing great for the past couple years.
Jaylen Brown is ranked pretty high in the scoring, right? He's number 13.
He's averaging 26 points, 6 boards, and 3 assists, 50% from the floor.
Yeah.
It's been quite impressive. But I'm going to give it to Luka right now because of the fact it's a lot of the MVP award is a numbers game.
Yeah.
When you put up monstrous numbers, that's when that's when you win the MVP award.
Well, then Curry may wind up there close to it too, because he's going to put up huge numbers too.
Curry has been putting up huge numbers.
31 points a game.
Yes, he's been doing really well, but recently he
doesn't average almost a triple double though.
Yes, that is true, and that's why he's what I have it right in front of me. He is 4th in the rankings.
His rebounds is almost 7.
That's impressive for a 6'2" guard to have almost 10 rebounds a game. That's ridiculous. He's averaging 7 assists, shooting 44% from 3, which I think is his
52% overall.
Yes, that would be the best if the season ended today, which is obviously not anywhere near it. That'd be the best of his career, and 3-point percentage, surprisingly, would not be. It would sort of be blended into the mix of everything else, which is surprising when you shoot 44% from 3, and that's about your average. Which that's crazy. So I think Curry will be up there. I think Luka
Durant may make a move too if the team starts playing better.
That's the
He's
problem,
averaging 30 points.
That's in large part the problem. They're the 9th seed, so without
Well, they've got the head case on their team, right? Kyrie Irving.
He's back.
He's not ranked up very high at all.
Nah, right? I don't think he's gonna be. He's only played 14 games this year. He's averaging 24.5 points a game though. He's averaging 4.3 rebounds, 4 assists. So he's not playing poorly. He's playing pretty good actually. If you average 24.5 points a game, it's not bad. It's just the success.
He doesn't play very often because he's got his foot in his mouth most of the time.
So right now I'm gonna give it to Luka because a lot of it, some of it's a story part, meaning that if your team gets usually top 4, top 5, that's when you're gonna be absolutely like the top favorited for MVP. Luka right now, what I said, they're the 11th seed. Yeah, they're the 11th seed. But he has the numbers to say, by the way, I should be favored for the MVP, and he is by, according to Vegas Insider, a whole point above Giannis. He's plus 275. Giannis is plus 276 because it's very close. Giannis is averaging a double-double, close to a triple-double. Luka's close to averaging a triple-double. So it's going to be a very, very tight race. By the end of the year, I think probably Curry's going to drop. I don't think Embiid has a chance right now. Embiid is number 5 right now. I would probably give it right now to Luka. Jason Tatum's been playing lights out. He has, since what did he get drafted? 2017? Or whenever he got drafted. He's played almost 23 in minutes. 23 games worth of minutes more than any other active player right now. That is crazy. He's played 1,105 minutes more than the next guy. It's absurd. So Jason Tatum has been a very crucial part of the Celtics' success since he got into the league. And it's shown. He's averaged almost 25 points a game since he's basically started every game. He started off a little bit slow, but since 2019, 2020, he's been averaging almost 25 points a game. This year he's averaging 30. So I got to admit, Tatum's close. I'm still going to give it to Luka, though.
Okay, well, we'll see what happens.
It's going to be
still a long way to go.
We do have a very, very long way to go. Let's get into our picks, though. It's time for that Week 12 recap, where we recap every single, or I should say most, of the games from Sunday and Monday night. So let's begin. I don't know who's first. Are you first? You are first.
No, well, it was a weird week because you had Thanksgiving, right? You had those games, 3 of the games on Thanksgiving. I started out great. I was 2 out of 3 there. I was disappointed the Patriots lost. That was a winnable game. The Patriots have been in every game except the Chicago game. And I don't know. They can't score in the red zone. That's That's a problem for them. They only get field goals when they should be getting touchdowns. So that's something they got to fix if they think they're going to make it. I'd say they're on the outside looking in right now a little bit, right? Because every other team in the AFC East is quite good this year.
Right.
I got Washington right, and I'll pick them again this weekend. I got Miami right. I missed on the point spread there. I probably should have known it wasn't going to be 13.5, but anyway.
I thought usually.
Although the Houston is very poor though.
Yes.
Who are they playing at quarterback now, Houston?
Kyle
They took Mills
Allen.
out. Yeah, Kyle Allen.
Who played for the Panthers?
yeah.
I think last time he started.
He's not. I don't think he's ever going to be
no,
much anything.
no, absolutely not. He's been a career backup.
Maybe they just give him Mills a rest for a while, see what he could do. You know. Okay, the Jets won, and Mike White looks like to be a world beater right now. But again, as I said, a small sample size. The Bucs, I can't believe they lost to the Browns. And this week you got Deshaun Watson starting for the Browns.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting to watch against Houston, which
Former team.
yeah, I'm going to predict they're going to win that game.
Who,
The
Houston or-
Browns. The Browns are going to win.
Cleveland Clowns, you're picking them.
Yeah, I'm picking them up. I just think that, Deshaun Watson, he should come out pretty good. He's all rested. He hasn't done anything yet. He may be rusty. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to watch. And then I can't believe the Ravens got beat by the Jaguars. They're a questionable team now. They're still leading their division, right?
I believe they are tied with. Their records are the same, but Baltimore has the half game or the tiebreakers. They beat them, but they have the same record. Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Okay. Well, the Bengals are now seem to be surging a bit, right? They beat the Titans.
And they don't even have Jamar Chase. He's coming back this week.
Oh, I thought he played last week.
No.
He didn't play, huh? And Derrick Henry couldn't do anything against the Bengals, which surprised me. And that's probably the reason they lost. Oh, boy, the Chargers, they just eked out that win with the 2-point conversion at the end. That was a shocker. I thought it looked like they were going to lose. They saved their season there, I think, with that game, in a way,
Right.
And then the Seahawks, I didn't get that right. They won over the no. Who won that game?
Who?
I had picked the Seahawks to win, and the
Raiders won.
Yeah.
It's like 40-34 overtime.
Yeah. And San Francisco, they're on a roll. I think everyone thinks they're great now, and I predicted that early in the season when Jimmy G got back in there. Kansas City are world beaters. A 15-point spread they covered. And the Green Bay, we talked all about this. They lost. And the Eagles still 9-1, right? That's a nice record.
Yeah.
Very nice record.
They're 10-1 now. 10-1.
I'm sorry, 10-1. It's even better. 10-1. That's a very nice record. And who are they playing this week?
The Eagles. If I'm not mistaken, it's the Titans. Okay.
Titans.
That's gonna be interesting.
That's gonna be a good game. The Colts, I never get them right. I've only had them right once this year, right?
Yeah.
Steelers won. Kenny Pickett looks better, and he hasn't turned the ball over at all 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
And he played pretty well in that game. I'm still up. Still, my record is still 10 games over 500. So,
Yeah.
Despite this week, which was not that great for me.
It's.
I need another. I need
interesting.
like the 11-3 or.
Yeah, you need some sort of miracle to happen. Although you keep inching closer to 500 when it comes to the spread.
Yeah.
So
I'm
you're
getting
slowly
better on
getting to
that.
500. I have hit triple digits in my win column. I am now 40 games over 500 when it comes to win losses, and I'm still doing really well. But let's get into let's get into the win losses when it comes to my picks. We already covered Thursday every single one of the Thanksgiving games, so we don't need to recover that. Let's get into the Panthers and Broncos though. I said before the show, I didn't really cover this because we quickly went over it. I said before the show that the Panthers would get some sort of a little bit of a spark, a little bit of boost from Sam Darnold. Because I don't know, it just seemed like Baker Mayfield brought him down, PJ Walker brought him down. So the last thing was Sam Darnold. There were rumors during Baker Mayfield's comeback start that the team wanted actually Sam Darnold to start to give him a chance. They gave him a chance, put up 23 points against the number one points allowed defense in the Denver Broncos, and only held them to 10 points. I think Steve Wilks coached that defense into a head coaching job for himself. So good for the Panthers, good for Steve Wilks. Next one, Taylor Heineke Magic. It was a little bit of a close game, 19-14, I believe. A little bit too close for my liking, but they still got the job done. They ran it generally effectively. Taylor Heineke played pretty well. Not great, because he's not a great quarterback. He's just a really strange...
He's like a Jimmy G quarterback. He's a winner.
Yeah, it's weird. And the next game, the Dolphins were up 30-0 at one point. Took out basically all their starters. I would hope that the Texans could have maybe put up another touchdown to make it plus 13.5. But no, I guess not. It was pretty bad. Next one, Jets and Mike White. Good for Mike White, and yikes, Zach Wilson, you just lost your starting job. You're the second overall pick, and you might be done in year 2. How bad is that?
I don't think he's done. I think somebody will, if the Jets let him go, for the Jets, he's probably done.
Yeah.
If Mike White continues to play well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. And the next one, the Bucs against the Clowns. Oh my God, they're in my Harvey hot hand.
I can't believe they lost that game.
It was the clock management at the very end of that game was non-existent. I'm so sorry. The clock management of at the very, very end. You went into overtime with all your timeouts remaining. How could you possibly do that? Brady played pretty well in that final drive, too. He had one really bad throw, a couple to Mike Evans that he overthrew, one that Mike Evans just couldn't find the ball, couldn't locate it. If he just stuck out his arms, it would have been a catch. But Tom Brady lost to the Cleveland Clowns and Jacoby Brissett, his former backup quarterback.
Yeah.
You
got to feel bad about that.
Yeah, it was not a great game for Brady. The Bucs keep looking more and more questionable as the weeks go on, so I don't know.
They're lucky they're in a weak division.
They are very lucky. The next one, I said it I've been saying it. Lamar and his play style and that Ravens team is not built to win.
Well, you picked them to win.
I did, because it's the Jaguars. The Jaguars, I put at my first Nate's Notches back in week 4 that I'm buying into this team. And then as soon as I said that, they started to suck and slip and slip.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you get this great, phenomenal late game drive with Trevor Lawrence. That defense played well.
Trevor Lawrence looked good in that game.
He looked he looked like the number 1 pick in that game. Able to come back, a very risky play call for Doug Peterson to go for it for the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, what they got to lose? They ain't going to the playoffs.
That's true.
Right.
He comes in and it's successful. It was a great game. You beat Lamar Jackson, and this Ravens team is supposed to be dominant. I mean, they were comparing Lamar and saying he was better than his 2019 unanimous MVP year, and I thought, there's no way. I'm sorry, but yes, Lamar is a great talent, but he's not going to repeat something. He's not going to repeat that year. That year was a complete anomaly, because Lamar comes on the scene. We haven't seen really anything like Lamar Jackson.
There's a big sample size for him, and they can plan for him a little better.
Yes, now you see them. Now you know. First of all, the Ravens are a run-heavy team. You slow down the run. I mean, think about it. The Bucs were up 10-3 in the half, and the Ravens barely ran the ball. They focused on passing and only put up 3 points. In the second half of the Bucs game, they started to run. They ran it down the Bucs' throats, crushed them at the end of that game. So the Ravens are a very, very good running team, but when it comes to Lamar and throwing it, you're not going to be that successful. Yes, there were like 4 or 5 phenomenal throws. You had like a 62-yard pass to Deshaun Jackson in that game. But when it comes down to it, over the course of time, Lamar throwing the ball is not going to be there. He has flashes in the pan where it's great throw, great accuracy, a drop there, a drop here. But then you also had some of the moments he's missing wide open receivers.
Well, every quarterback has a little bit of that sometimes.
But when you only throw it 25 times, those are going to get highlighted. Just like the great throws are highlighted when you only throw it 25 times.
His attempts are going to go up as he goes older.
He
gets older.
Because
he's not going to be running them as much.
No predominantly mobile quarterback has sustained success and
I don't think they should let him run that
has
much.
Never won a Super Bowl. Think about that. And that's why I'm saying Lamar will never win one. He could shatter that mold. Shatter and say, you know what? Yeah, I'm done here. Over the course of, the 100 years of the NFL, let me be the first one to win a Super Bowl as a predominantly mobile quarterback. It's just not in the history of the NFL. It hasn't happened. I don't think it will happen. Let's move on to the next one. The Titans defense, I thought they played pretty well. They held the Bengals to 20 points, but their offense was the problem. Derrick Henry had a great catch and run. I think he had like a 75-yard run, but then he fumbled it. Didn't score a touch. It was bad. Couldn't run the ball very well. The Titans just weren't there. The offense just wasn't there to play. The next one, the Chargers. I feel like if Justin Herbert doesn't have a fourth quarter comeback or a late game drive to win it, they're not going to win a single game. And for most of the year, that's been the case. I think Justin Herbert, this was his fourth game-winning drive. We're 12 weeks. So a third of the time, a third of the games, it's up to Justin Herbert to win these games. And it hasn't been great. It hasn't been great. The Cardinals are a bad team. Kyler Murray didn't play particularly bad. He played okay. He played pretty well, actually. It's just, I don't know. The Cardinals are a weird team.
I think that Kingsbury is going to be canned at the end of the year.
That's probably why the Sean Payton rumors between the Chargers and the Cardinals probably were growing. And when I was thinking about that when I was watching that game, it's like Sean Payton might be the next coach of the Cardinals.
I think you're right. I think that's a good chance of that.
Because Cliff Kingsbury just does not seem like the dude.
He and Murray are not getting along anymore, and I think that's an issue. They paid Murray a ton of money, so they got to try to keep him happy. So I think that Kingsbury is going to be the odd man out there, scapegoat.
Probably. I mean, he didn't win that much when he was a head coach at college. Now he's coming to the NFL. He isn't winning much. It's a mess. The most of the Cardinals are just a mess. Let's move on to it. For most of the season, actually, I put faith into the Raiders. And the one time where I say the Seahawks have a chance of beating them, Josh Jacobs decides to go like 86 yards for a touchdown, put up 303 total yards, 45 fantasy points, and just do whatever. Derek Carr didn't play that badly either. Devontae Adams played pretty well. Good for the Raiders. You're not really going to do anything. I'm going to bring up your playoff. Do I still have the playoff chances here? Yes, I do. Right now, the Raiders have a 2.3% chance to make the playoffs, a.k.a. they're not going to make it. The Packers have a higher chance because the NFC sucks. But good for the Raiders, good for Derek Carr, good for the entire team. So, sucks that I got the Seahawks wrong, but it is what it is. The next one, it's crazy. There was a stat that got brought up with the Saints. It was something about how they haven't gotten shut out in an extremely long time. And, that 49ers defense shut them out. They barely won the game. That was like 13-0.
I don't know why they don't let Jameis Winston play.
That's a great question.
Why don't they let him play? Come on. The Saints aren't going anywhere now.
Right. Well, I think, it's the NFC South, so you have a chance. Yeah. They may go somewhere.
Well, then let him play because Andy Dalton's not winning. Right? He's won a couple of games. He throws a lot. He throws interceptions. I don't think he's any better than Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is a talent if he can control himself a little bit. That's the big thing. Can he can throw the ball long as good as anybody.
He does.
As good as anybody. I think they should let him try. Give him a try. Why not? I don't know why they don't.
That was the Bucs' offense. Was no risk and no biscuit. Just hurl it out there. Hopefully someone could catch it. And that's why he ended up with like 32 interceptions.
But he had 30 touchdown passes too.
He did. So I don't know. You want to play Jameis Winston a little bit risky. I mean, right now, do you just stick with it? I probably agree with you. Put in Jameis Winston because Andy Dalton has been very inconsistent. But Jameis Winston has a turnover problem. I've been saying that. He has a turnover issue.
Well, he can't turn it over if he's not in the game.
that is a good point. So, yeah, good for the 49ers. Their offense wasn't great, but it was efficient enough to put up 13 points and take the win. So, good for that. Good for you. The Rams are done. The Rams are terrible. They are terrible. Matt Stafford dealing with an injury.
They should sit Matt Stafford the rest of the season. Let him rest up. He's got a lot of injuries over the years. Now he's getting his bell rung every other game. I'd let him sit down and play for next year. I mean, he has a 3-year contract. So
yeah, he's there for a while.
It's a pretty big one. So I would protect him. He's got elbow issues. I mean, that guy he's been banged up over the years. And here's an opportunity to let him rest up and then plan for next year.
Right. Because right now the Rams, their O-line isn't the same. Surprisingly, without a 40-year-old left. Who knew a 40-year-old tackle was your key part to keep that offensive line intact. Your defense has been nowhere near the same as it was last year. Aaron Donald's dealing with an injury. Jalen Ramsey's no longer the number one cornerback. I didn't think he was last year anyway.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's hurt. Allen Robinson got hurt. Matt Stafford's hurt. You release your number one running back. and your running back 2, Cam Akers, had an issue with the team and was going to be traded. The
He
entire
fumbles
team
the
was
ball, too.
The entire team was a mess, and now it's a dumpster fire right now. So the Chiefs put having the 15-point. It was actually 16 points they won by, so we barely edged it out to cover that spread. But Chiefs look really, really good. Next one, the Packers. I thought would keep it close. We were literally a half point off from nailing this point spread. A half point off. They lost by 7.
Yeah.
That close. The Eagles, there's question marks there. Teams are now keeping it relatively close.
Yeah.
It's just they've been able
Still
to just,
10-1. Most everybody would trade for that record.
I would agree with you 100%. And the next game, Kenny pick him off. Actually, was Kenny pick him apart. He played really well. Matt Ryan, there were some throws where I'm like, he's putting a lot of effort to throw a 3-yard pass. Like some of those throws, he was trying to get out there. It looks like he was putting all the mustard into the ball to go 3 yards. And then some of the time, it looks so effortless to throw it, 25, 30 yards down the field. So Matt Ryan's a question mark. Jonathan Taylor, he was able to put up some numbers here, but I don't know. Steelers.
Jeff Saturday's lost 2 in a row now.
He has. One of them was close though. He kept it close to the Eagles, so there's some respect there. And then this game, I don't know. Couldn't stop Kenny Pickett. Mike Tomlin has like a 19-4.
Mike Tomlin is a good head coach.
Oh,
I mean, the Steelers have some issues. They got a rookie quarterback in there now. I think next year I bet they'll be a lot better.
I would probably agree with you, but I don't know. Mike Tomlin, I'm still saying losing season, first one in his career, which is crazy to say.
What's their record right now?
I believe they're 4 and I can bring it up. I don't know. I'm guessing. They are currently right now 4-7. I was right.
4-7.
Cleveland's above them.
They could still get to a winning record.
Yeah. They would need to.
What's their schedule? What's the rest of their schedule?
The Steelers go on to play. We're done with that, so we can just go to this screen. Falcons should be a win. Ravens lost. Panthers with that defense, I'm saying maybe lost. It's at Panthers too.
They can be competitive
It can be.
in 2 of those games, right? Next,
Raiders
maybe.
Ravens again.
Ravens,
and then a Deshaun Watson Browns to end the year.
so they might win 3. That would get them to 7 wins.
7 and 10.
Yeah, so they wouldn't make it. Yeah.
You would need some upsets there. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. This entire,
it has been an interesting season.
Yeah, I was going to say this entire season.
There's a lot of interest left.
Yeah, there's a
lot of excitement to come.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But I think that wraps it up for this episode of the Harvey Hour.
Yeah.
We will see you guys Friday and Friday 6:30 p.m. Eastern. What's Friday? It's the 29th of November. It's gonna be December by the time we get into our next show. I think it's December 2nd.
Yeah.
So
time flies.
November's ending, and I guess hold on before we end the show, we got to make our Thursday picks.
Oh, okay.
It's Bills at Patriots. Bills are favored -3.5 away at Patriots. Who do you got? Who wins? Who covers?
Patriots.
You're saying Patriots.
Yeah. They got to win. They have to win this game. This is a must-win game.
I'm going to go. I'm taking the obvious pick and picking the Bills here.
Yeah.
I just think the Patriots offense is not going to be able to stop Stephon Diggs.
They stopped Josh Allen running the ball. That might be the bigger issue.
That very well could be the bigger issue here. But
although he may not run that much. He's been getting banged up a little bit there. Yeah. Maybe a little sore.
He kept it. Think about it. They won on a game-winning field goal against the Lions.
I know. I don't think they're that great.
But the Lions could match him 1-for-1 on offense. Can Mac Jones do that?
How come they couldn't score more points then?
Actually, Von Miller, he's out right now. There's a chance.
Yeah.
I'm still picking the Bills, though. Because I just think when you break it down, the Bills are just a better offense. And I think Mac Jones will have trouble.
I think the Patriots will be pumped up because they were embarrassed last time. They were embarrassed the last 2 times they played by the
Mac Jones
Bills.
has played really good the past 2 weeks. And last week, he put up almost 400 yards.
Yeah, but against a very bad pass defense.
No turnovers. That was the biggest part. Probably was the no turnovers.
Yeah, he did play well.
Damian Harris is going to be out though. He's dealing with injury. He's been hurt all year.
Thigh.
And it was crazy about it. I told you that it's a Belichick thing to get rid of a really good talent because you got to pay him more than you would probably want. And Damian Harris, this is probably the worst time for him to get injured. This is his contract year. And he's getting hurt. He's not performing well. You thought I was crazy when I first told you.
He may not be there next year.
I told you he probably won't be there, and you thought I was crazy.
Oh, they may be able to pick him up cheap.
It's looking like they won't be without. Ramondre Stevenson. You saw it in the preseason.
He's awesome.
He had 200 yards in the preseason last year, his rookie year. Now this year he's playing great. So Ramondre Stevenson,
He's turned into somewhat like a James White.
I would say more so LeGarrette Blount.
He's a heavier hitter than James White, but he's catching lots of balls out of the backfield. He had 9 receptions in the last game.
He is.
So they're throwing the ball to him.
If I had to take a guess about his comp, it would probably be LeGarrette Blount because of just his physicality.
I think LeGarrette Blount was bigger than him.
Oh no, he is big. Okay. Well, then the other person I would blend him with, because I say Josh Allen is a Cam Newton Big Ben blend. This is probably, like you said, James White and LeGarrette Blount. Because I'm just thinking, LeGarrette Blount's
somewhat in the middle of those two.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because James White was a agile, mobile receiving back.
He's a good running back too.
And LeGarrette Blount was more so of a power back. And
he never caught a pass out of the backfield.
Generally, no.
They didn't throw the ball to him.
It was like a last resort.
Yeah, he was just hit it up between the tackles.
Brady generically though would have a power back. He would have one receiving back, one power back. Because you had Ben Jarvis Green Ellis in the 2010s.
Yeah.
You had LeGarrette Blount. Then, I guess you had Shane Vereen a little bit there.
He was catching the ball.
Then you had Tony Michel for 2 years. The third year, he just wasn't himself. That's why the Patriots got rid of him. Early in his career, he had, who did he have? He had, what's his name?
Corey Dillon.
Corey Dillon. He had Lawrence Maroney.
Yeah.
Who else? He had, was it Fred Taylor? Was he on the Patriots?
I don't think so.
They had a Taylor, I believe. Who else? They had Kevin Falk is the guy I'm thinking of.
Kevin Falk was the third down back before James White.
He was a very crucial part of that.
He was very good.
Yeah, he was. I think it's underrated. You don't hear Kevin Falk's name usually unless you're talking about the Patriots. He was a crucial part.
Yeah.
Is that it for their? Well, they also had Danny Woodhead.
Yeah.
Shane Vereen. You had Brandon Bolton was always the running back 4. He was never a star running. He's on the Raiders right now. You barely see him.
Yeah.
It's crazy. New England history. It's
I think
weird.
New England misses Brandon Bolton a little bit.
Hey,
Right.
also Rex Burkhead too.
A very good special teams player.
Rex Burkhead. I'm sure they also miss him too because they need a running back. They got J.J. Taylor as their backup right now, and then who? Because they
drafted a bunch of running backs. What happened to them? They cut them all.
They got rid of them.
Cut them all.
They had what's his name? Ty Montgomery as their
what happened to him?
He's on IR right now.
He got hurt in the first game of the season. He only played 1 game.
Yeah, played 1 game. He rushed it twice for -2 yards.
Is he coming back? I wonder.
He's still in IR. Still in IR.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's shut down the rest of the year. But it's let's see. I'm trying to see who's on the rock. They have Damian Harris who's out this week. J.J. Taylor and Ramondre Stevenson.
Yeah.
It's gonna be they released Lil Jordan Humphrey, I think. Yeah. So he was a receiver for the Patriots. Pierre Strong, who was the special teams who they got the penalty on the punter.
They let him
He's
go.
a running back.
Oh, he's a running back?
He's a running. They might need to put him in.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Belichick was furious with him.
I would be too.
Yeah.
Cost me the game, basically. But that just wrap it up for us at the Harvey Hour. A little extracurricular at the end of that, talking about the Patriots. But yeah, you pick the Patriots, I pick the Bills. We'll see. We'll recap it on Friday's show. But for this episode of the Harvey Hour, my name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We are the Harvey Hour. Follow us on all social media. I will put it up right now. At Nathan T. Harvey 1 on Twitter. At the Harvey Hour on TikTok. Exclusive content, clips of the show, and more. We will see you Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Bye.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.